How's it going?
Hey, bro, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm loving this. The background.
Really? Oh, thank you. But thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. It's like mine's like pure fucking chaos, and yours is like this really nicely organized. But how's your day been?
Hey, you're not seeing this bit now. You like it's
Oh,
like you,
is it? Yeah, if it's anything like this, it's
yeah. I wouldn't look over that direction. It's it doesn't reflect that.
I do like that though. I do like that. How's your day going anyway, bro? All good?
Yeah, good. Good. It's yeah. Busy. Like literally today, the physical albums have started landing on doormats. So
Mm.
just this morning. So it's like 20 to 12 here. What time is it for you? Like yeah, whereabouts in
I,
Australia are you? So
I'm on the Gold Coast in Queensland. If
yep.
you know where that is. It's sort of
That's on the west side, yeah. That's
over
no
here,
east side, sorry.
east.
East,
Yeah, yeah,
east.
over this
Yeah.
side, up the top, down the bottom, and out near the ocean. But we yeah. It's 8:40 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay.
Where is it? Where'd you say it was? It was Thursday at midday.
Yeah, Thursday, yeah, just before midday here. Yeah.
Time travel.
I know.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. It's exciting for you though. That
It
people
is.
are going to be coming home from work this afternoon and grabbing the vinyl or the CD, running inside and like putting it on, man, grabbing a beer. That's exciting, knowing that you're
It,
going to be out there.
well, I mean, we've just looking at like Facebook before I came on and seeing the first video of someone putting on the red vinyl and spinning it and just videoing it. Someone else who's posted with the packaging around it saying, shall I wait for my husband to get home, or do I just open this now? And people who are just holding up the CD or taking a picture of it with their dog. Uh,
Dogs love heavy stuff.
apparently. So yeah, yeah, it is. Uh it's kind of relieving, kind of surprising that we're at that almost release day. It feels like release day. It's
Mm.
kind of it is as I call it on a post we got going out later. It's Relentless Eve. It's like Christmas Eve. It's like the excitement, the anticipation, the some early presents, maybe that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it because that's what I was thinking when you were saying that. I was like, it's kind of like you get those little sneaky little early presents before Christmas, and you get it, and then
Yeah.
bam, which is it's exciting, man. I mean, tomorrow you're going on a pub crawl to celebrate it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We were trying to come up with an idea of what can we do where people can actually join in and it's not just doing a gig. We've done a hometown gig recently
Mm.
and we've got our release party, which we didn't want to do on release day. We wanted to give people a chance to listen to the album and then come and hear it live so they can know it and be looking forward to certain tracks rather than basically, putting it on in the car on the way there, having a couple of listens and not really being familiar with it. So we thought, what can we do? And it was as simple as, well, we like going to the pub. How can we work with this?
Best idea.
That was it. It's not that complicated.
No, but it's a good idea. You hear about kids doing their little release parties and stuff like that, but actually taking like people at a pub crawl. Is the album going to be playing in all the different pubs? Have you teed that up?
We don't know yet. I mean, I guess it depends on some of them are going to have those jukebox systems, which might have some of our older stuff on. A couple of them do, but won't have the new stuff. We will probably go armed with some CDs or ask if they can put on Spotify or whatever. So some of those pubs are going to know us because we played there, or just go there. So we'll see, and I reckon it kind of depends on how many of our fans and friends are going to be joining us, and how much chaos ensues. We don't really know yet. Weather here tomorrow is forecast to be absolutely shit.
Oh
It's like it's meant to be up to gale force winds, and just tipping it down with rain all day. So, but I guess it kind of suits our killing the vibe feel. I mean, it's just killing the vibe of Relentless release day. So we'll try and embrace that and look like drowned rats while we go around and drown our sorrows or whatever.
You know what? It's one of those albums that it's triumphant and it's atmospheric, but it's one of those albums that you'd like to put on one of those grey days. You know, I guess I would like to, chill and listen to the rain and listen to that album. I think that's a really cool combo. I mean, unless you're going to be, could you see it being a sunny day album by the beach?
There's one. I think hit and run is a sunny day song,
Okay.
but a lot of everything, forget me and quiet commotion, are rainy day songs for sure. Probably a whole life slows as well. Kind of, that's a stuck inside song with nothing much going on. So yeah, and then some of the more aggressive rock stuff, possibly. It does suit our vibe. We did an outdoor festival last year, and for the most part, the weather was a little bit changeable. But there's a song from the last album called "Only Way Out," and it was kind of like If It Rains During November Rain by Guns N' Roses. It's that kind of like, oh, or Why Does It Always Rain on Me by Travis. If the timing's right, it's a real good thing to happen for certain songs. Yeah, and it was a bit like that. And I think some of our stuff on the new album could be like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it when music becomes part of the scenery, the atmosphere, what's going on. Like, man, years ago, funny I'm wearing the shirt, 9 Inch Nails in 2000 at Big Day Out, the legendary Big Day Out. It pissed down with rain, and it was raining that had all like the strobes going, and it just
Mhm.
was like, man, it was just like stars everywhere. And it was like
Exactly. Yeah.
you couldn't beat it, man. It was one of those moments. So
And that's what you're looking for. That's exactly. I can imagine what that must be like. Just like the strobes glinting off all the raindrops. That'd have been trippy, but excellent.
yeah, there was quite a few people tripping out that day. Not me though.
Yeah,
I was a sunburn. But you get what I'm saying. It's like
yeah,
there's those moments in life that go hand in hand with the music that money just can't buy. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm all about it. But of course, I mean, this album, man, it's incredibly written, as I said. And
Thank
did
you.
you feel that everything that went on and you were writing this, did you feel that you still had unfinished business with your first album, Self Aware?
Um, I wouldn't call it unfinished business. I think with this album, the approach was generally no holds barred. It was just, okay, we're gonna write exactly what we want, which is the approach we took at Self-Aware, but we were gonna kind of add whatever we felt like as well. So if it required like 4 guitar parts rather than 2 guitar parts that Did and I can play, well, we just did 4 guitar parts. If it, let's put some orchestration on, let's use some samples, let's just play with some toys and see kind of what happens. We certainly wanted to top Self-Aware and be that bit more ambitious. Um, we were quite proud of what we did with Self-Aware, but I'm proud of what we've done with Relentless, and I think it's a better album. I think we managed to top it.
I think so too. Like I do like so it's a good album, man. But they're so close to get, you know what I mean? Like there's that real big jump, and then we're so close together. Like this, some bands have just did that. I don't know where that creativity came from. Where for you? Because sometimes it takes years for bands to release a follow up. But you guys must have
Mhm.
been on this great big creative kick. Like what was going on?
Well, it was the pandemic really that kind of gave us the opportunity to some extent to write the album, because everything just stopped in March 2020. So we initially, it wasn't like, oh, we just dove straight into writing. We thought, well, I really thought we'd be back out gigging in a couple of months' time. We had a gig booked for May. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It didn't even get to, I think it got well into April before we actually cancelled that gig, when it was like, okay, this is just not going to happen. And probably around about that time, it was, well, okay, if we're not going to be gigging and we don't know when we're going to get out, and we know that we're in at least 3 months of lockdown or whatever it was, I can't even remember what it was to start off with. It was just, well, let's start writing some stuff. That kind of coincided with me investigating what I could do with the computer, and like finding samples and finding orchestration and starting to build stuff. And so I was writing stuff on a MIDI keyboard. I was writing stuff on the guitar and then trying to turn it into songs. And we were then all passing stuff around, like the other guys were sorting out their kind of remote recording stuff. So my setup's okay. I'm reasonably used to that. But the other guys, they were like, okay, well, what can I record with? Or do I need to go and buy an audio interface? Or how can we share all these files? And how could Elliot put down drums when he can't really get to it? It doesn't have space for a drum kit in his house. So but he's got an electric drum kit. So we worked out how we could send him demos. He could put some drum parts down to that. And then after about 3 or 4 months, Did and I managed to, we were in a bubble when they started that whole sort of bubble thing.
Yeah.
So then he could come round and he'd bring a bass round with him, so we could at least give Grant some ideas of what he could do bass wise. We would try to, Did and I come up with a kind of structure for the songs and then send them out. And then we went into the rehearsal process when we could, and we just then went into recording. So we kind of we're doing these 3 or 4 songs, rehearse them, then go into the studio, record them. I mean, there were times when it was, we couldn't have more than 2 people in the studio. So there were very few times when all 4 of us were there until the end. But so there were loads of things to work around. It was really intense, and there was a lot of stuff, and we were tweaking the songs and then tweaking them again once we'd recorded them. It would really be back and forth between the studio and my PC here to like play with all the parts. So yeah, it was quite a creative time, and quite intense in terms of like chopping and changing between all these different things we were trying to do. But overall, we did end up having quite a long time to be able to focus on it and really analyze different parts and work out what we were going to do, what worked, what didn't work, change it if we needed to. Just refused to kind of compromise on it, and then tried getting it mixed. We tried again, both us and our sound engineer Neil together, and it was like, okay, we still haven't quite got this. And then we gave it to Chris Clancy, and he managed to add a bit more air and atmosphere and liveliness to everything, which was great. So all told, the writing, we did about probably like a year or so of writing into rehearsals, and then a year of recording and mixing to get the album. Yeah,
Mate, what a masterpiece.
So, yeah.
Like, it's a lot. People don't realize how much bands actually go through and put themselves through to bring out that. They just think they just put in a CD and it burns it and comes straight out. You know what I mean? But it shows how much work goes into this thing. Like it is quite a masterpiece, man. And
Thank you.
You know, of course, in regards to the title Relentless and the themes running through it, what would you sort of say sums it up? What's the theme concept?
That is it. It's like going. We went into the pandemic after pretty much with 3 weeks off the back of the biggest gig we'd done for a British radio station who run a couple of festivals called Planet Rock.
Oh yeah.
And we'd opened their main stage at Winter's End to about, I think, 750 people or so, 75% of which didn't even know who we were. That went like really well, massive merch queue, and we're thinking, okay, right, 2020, this is the year, here we go. Lockdown. So that was what I just refused to see lockdown as a threat to the band. It's like this has got to be an opportunity. We were lucky enough that we had recorded going up to Christmas the previous year our acoustic album between September and so we'd just finished mixing it, I think, in January and ish, or maybe we are just finishing off some stuff. So we knew we had that to release, and that the plan was we could release a bunch of singles and release the album and the acoustic album, and in the meantime we'd be writing and recording the next album, so we could almost not stop release cycle. That was the idea. That kind of went a bit awry because Kscope put the hand up, and then like a whole record label thing. But the idea behind it was we wanted to be relentless, and that's the ethic of the band. I think we released 7 singles, 1 album, 15 music videos, along with being able to do some gigs during the pandemic, plus a few live streams. And then we went on tour 3 months after lockdown with Mason Hill and did like 16 dates. And that was during the mixing process of Relentless. And then it was only when we got to February 2022, where suddenly we kind of stopped because we were about to start preparing, or we were preparing to release Relentless ourselves. And then Kscope said, "Oh, we might be interested in this," because we sent them the album. So the whole idea behind the first and kind of second song of Relentless is, the first one is it's a bit exaggerated. The song is quite aggressive, but it really is about trying to forge ahead and drive an ambition, and not be stopped. And then Waking Light sounds like a song about revolution or an uprising, but it's really about trying to build empire and build the following. And you could say build the following through coming off our biggest gig ever, and then going into a time where no one could get to a live event, and what we were going to do, and then trying to build it remotely with no gigs or very few gigs. So yeah, build it. I mean, the last lines of that is fill the silence with me, build an empire, and we'll surely grow to see the waking light. So, but we spell empire correctly in that verse because we're trying to, build an empire around us. So yeah, we played with a few kind of themes and ideas, and then you get into the more of the kind of emotional side of the album, with Parasites and Hit and Run and Forget Me and stuff like that.
Man, that Kscope signing would have been so exciting for you, man. Like Porcupine. I'm a massive Porcupine Tree fan. Steven Wilson, Tesseract. Mm-hmm. Like, how was that? Like, it would have been awesome after all that.
But basically, our manager Dan was working with another band on the sister label Peaceville. They're under the banner of like Snapper Music, and Kscope and Peaceville are sister labels under Snapper. So Dan said, "Look, you're happy to send them the album, and just see whether they're interested." We knew we were not heavy enough for Peaceville, and probably not not prog enough for Kscope, but at least we'd get some industry feedback, perhaps, if they listened to the album. So they listened to the album, and I remember, I think it was a Tuesday evening, sitting on the sofa watching TV with my girlfriend, and Dan messaged me and goes, "Yeah, Kscope might be interested." All right.
Yeah. What?
On the website, doing some, I knew about them, but like do a bit more research. And then, of course, it was a case of, right, can we send them not just a SoundCloud link or whatever? Can we send them the fully mastered tracks, and can they have a proper listen? And then they're going to get back, and then they make an offer, and we start drawing up contracts, and we get into a negotiation stage, and then we had to take some, get in touch with the musicians union here, and so we could get some advice. And so that took a little while, but at least, like, we were patient. We kind of put our self-release plans on hold, and then Kscope were patient while we organized getting some of our advice for our own side. So we both wanted to make sure it was right, but it was great that they were interested, and also lets us have another kind of foot in a different camp outside of the area that we're in at the moment in the UK, which is great. But to have a different crowd to hopefully appeal to is also good. And then to be on a label with, as you've said, Porcupine Tree, Stephen Wilson, Tesseract, and a lot of bands that have some of their like Porcupine Tree, some back catalogue stuff on there as well. And the company's great. Yeah.
And it's so cool. Like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, because I said I'm a big Stephen Wilson fan. Would you ever like want to, maybe collaborate with him? Is that someone that you'd love to jam with?
Well, yeah. I mean, there is. He's a big ABBA fan. I'm a big ABBA fan, so I don't know what we'd come up with. It probably wouldn't be very Empire. And some of the poppy stuff, like 12 Things I Forgot off the last album, is my favorite on there. So that, but then Forget Me is kind of like is I was listening to Pariah a lot when I wrote Forget Me. So if you listen to, and Forget Me, I'd like to do it at some point. It is kind of meant to be a duet like Pariah, and then of course it has the big euphoric ending like Pariah. So there are parallels there. And oh yeah, I mean, of course I'd like to work with Stephen Wilson, and I'd like him to teach me how to mix in Atmos. And like he's now the foremost guy to be doing Atmos mixes. And I did some rudimentary 5.1 stuff for a listening party we had at a cinema, but I looked at Atmos and I just went, no. That's too much. It's above my pay grade. So, but that stuff does kind of interest me. And again, what amazing company to be in.
And I know. Imagine him sitting down going, okay, so this is the button you push, and you're like, because he knows what he's doing. I'd love to see what you guys could cook up together, especially with your voice and his would be, yeah, that's just me dreaming, as a fan. So
yeah, it would be great. Stephen and I haven't spoken, but I'm a phone call away.
He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. I like him a lot. We have the same birthday, funny enough. So that's a little
right.
trivia. There you go.
Well, I really enjoyed listening to I was listening the audiobook of his autobiography. I was listening to that, I think, what was it, sort of September, October time last year. That was great. And then we did a great interview with Rick Beato just a couple of months ago. So I do kind of follow what he's doing. And I know he's announced some stuff for the next album that is kind of like, he reckons is just like the pinnacle of, which I think for what he doesn't tend to listen to much of stuff he's done. I don't think he often bigs up what he's about to be doing too much. So kind of interesting to see, but I get the feeling you need a proper surround setup to really enjoy whatever he's been playing around with. But that guy, he's pretty relentless. He never stops working. If he's not doing his own stuff, he's doing Porcupine Tree. If he's not doing that, he's doing another project. If he's not doing that, he's remixing November Rain. I mean, what?
I know. What's he doing?
Who's doing this?
But what if he just found a little bit of time? He did the 5.1 for you guys.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, see, I mean, there you go, man.
Let's hope Relentless has the impact for that to happen. I think that's a little too much to ask for, but of course we've jumped at the chance if Kscope invited Stephen to come and do that. That'd be great.
See, you got to put these things out into the universe, my friend. You got to put it all out there. I'm all about it. But of course, hey, I think have you got much time left?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it's cool. No worries. I'm not looking. I mean, I look down at my phone, but I've got it on mute and silent, so I don't get interrupted and yeah, people hassling me. So
I tend to like blah blah blah, and then people go, man, just stop. We're talking. So I don't want to. If it goes too long,
that's all right. If you've got more questions, go for it.
Cool. Man, I got all the questions for you, my friend. But of course, I did want to ask you visually. You experimented with AI, which is a whole other rabbit hole, and it's something I've been and talking to a lot of musos and artists about. because they're all over the different sides of the fence in regards to it. But what you seem to have done with it is really, really clever. It's a powerful tool, but how did it come about for you? Where did that experimentation start?
I think a lot of things, a little bit like discovering orchestration and sampling and all that sort of stuff musically, came from just watching YouTube and stuff that pops up on my phone that YouTube thinks I might possibly be interested in. I mean, in one way, thank you, Google, for listening to every word I say and then popping up with little suggestions of stuff I might like. Because I can't remember how I found out about Midjourney or OpenAI or something like that, Stable Diffusion. I'm guessing it might have been on Reddit. Otherwise, it would have been a YouTube video, and probably just a picture that someone posted and said, "Oh, made this the other day in Midjourney." And for those that don't know, a generative art AI tool. So then I thought, well, okay, I know nothing about Discord, which is what you use to sort of put the prompts in for Midjourney, but watched a couple of walkthroughs and then just went, oh, can you make me, you know, whatever. I don't even remember what I first typed in, but immediately the results were, well, this is interesting. Now for the main artwork for Relentless, we'd asked a guy called Patrick Seymour, a French-Canadian illustrator, proper artist, to do a version of Leon, our logo, in a line art style, something that I didn't want to try and tackle myself. And he kindly did that, and we used one version for the cover, and we used another version for the Relentless single cover. And I've made some of the stuff from scratch before. I made the Self-Aware cover. Grant's wife, our bass player, his wife, she's an artist. She did the cover for My Immortal, which is and Too Little Too Late. My Immortal is an amazing illustrated, hand-drawn picture of a raven. It's like so intricate, and so in one way you feel a bit guilty going just make me a, you know, whatever, and then bing, it doesn't always work, and there's a lot of fine-tuning. Did and I sat down, the first single cover was Parasites. I think we sat down, must have been November time, and we're like, okay, make me a human parasite. Okay, turns out we can't use the word parasite on Midjourney. Maybe a humanoid insect, 12-leg, winged, something like that.
Okay.
After about 20 iterations, we got the parasite logo or something close to it. I take it into Photoshop, clean it up, just sort of make it a bit more symmetrical, play with the colors a little bit, and boom, that we were like, okay, we've got it. We're happy with that. That cost us 15 quid. So I don't know what that is in Australian dollars. Like
I don't know
20,
I don't know whether it is.
don't know. So, but for you know, that's, and you compare that to hundreds of pounds you pay an artist, or the time for me to do it myself to create something. So I did create the Cry Wolf logo from scratch. Again, that is line art, and I'd never done it before, and that came out surprisingly well. I'm very proud of that. But that took me 2 days I had to learn how to do it, and then I had to do it. And so that's kind of a lot of time. So when you can go and spend an hour and come up with something that I then clean up in Photoshop for half an hour, and boom, I've got a single cover, I've got a t-shirt idea, that's quite powerful and fascinating and impressive. So from there, it was just a case of, right, what else can we do? The hit and run cover, I did make that from scratch. I used some of Patrick's artwork, the lion, and then made this sort of sinking square idea. But then as we went down it, like everything else, or a lot of the other stuff has been AI, and they'll kind of been doing a countdown on Facebook and Instagram of some of the tracks and then the artwork for them. We like to have artwork for everything as much as we possibly can. So then when it got to Waking Light, it was a case of, I saw someone on YouTube who'd done an infinite zoom sequence, put in lots of frames of AI generated art. You basically, and for those that understand this, you take the picture, you then make that smaller for the second frame and then outpaint it. And then you take that and make it smaller and then outpaint it using the AI tool. And then you can put them all in sequence and you zoom and you zoom and you zoom. And I tried to control it to the lyrics of Waking Light, but it was too difficult and time consuming to do that. So I kind of gave up on that and just went, okay, give me something that looks a little bit Japanese. Give me something that looks a little bit like a station. Give me something that looks a bit like an advertising billboard. And then just threw some ideas out there and saw what happened, and then put them all together, and you get this super visually intense and I hope engaging video for that. Again, a lot of work. That took me about a week on and off to do that.
That's incredible. That's incredible, man. It is blowing my mind what is happening with AI at the moment. Except for one
Yes.
thing is,
Like,
have you seen Abandoned Films? That site, it's like that page, Abandoned Films.
no, I don't think so.
They take concepts from like The Wizard of Oz and then
Uh-huh.
run it through there, and it's like terrifying. But it's fascinating. I can't look away. But there's one face in it, there's a female face that they've reused. She's kind of got like a bit of a Michelle Pfeifferish sort of shape.
Mhm.
She's literally haunted my dreams. Like I've had nightmares about her, and it's got in there, man, and it scared the shit out of me. So I don't know what's
Yeah,
going on, man. AI into the dreams.
it's incredible. It's
Yeah,
just,
it is mind blowing.
but what a tool. Although I am worried about when it gets to the level it is with artwork. When it gets to that level with music, then we've all got a problem.
Yes.
All of us musicians, because then of course Spotify and everywhere else is going to get flooded, and there is AI music on there already. Of course,
Mm.
it's out there. So what are you left with? Live performance, pretty much.
Yeah.
That, not that's it, but you've got the traditionalists, and there's already that movement in the artwork world. You've got the
Yes.
traditionalists, and then you've got the guys like me who work from scratch but also use AI, and then you've got the pure AI
AI,
guys who are
yeah.
doing incredible stuff. So there's a lot of movements going on, but I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
Ah, that's it. That's it. Skynet. Skynet can't play guitar, can it? I don't
Let's
know.
go and see what Arnold Schwarzenegger can
Yeah,
make
yeah.
out of a chat GPT. Yeah.
It's an interesting one. But of course, I mean, just to wrap up, man, touring. What's your touring plans? Australia? I just had to throw that one, mate. We're waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd really like to be able to announce Big Day Out to you, but no, sorry. Hopefully, what we really hope for at the moment is that from the feedback and people listening to Relentless, that really spreads the word. I mean, it's kind of part of the ambition in putting together that sort of album, that if we can't break out of the UK and do it with this album, how on earth are we ever going to do it? So that was one of the reasons why we put so much time and effort into it. So we really hope that people enjoy it, and if they do, tell a friend about it, who tells a friend who, and those are the kind of things that mean that we will be able to get to places like Australia. So at the moment, we're kind of restricted to the UK in terms of the gigs that we've got booked. And we're hoping we're going to tour the UK by the end of the year. We've got some summer festivals, and we've got a few headline gigs coming up soon, but it would be nice, even if it doesn't happen this year, it would be nice that, give Relentless 6 to 8 months to grow, and then travel much further afield next year. That'd be great.
Pub crawl down under, mate. Let's
Oh
go.
wow, yeah,
You all right? Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right. But Henrik, man, it's been really, really cool hanging out with you. And Relentless is out right now, kind of technically.
Well, yeah, as good
Today.
as.
Yeah, so it's out there. So go get it. We're gonna have all the links down here and on the website. Brother, you and the boys, all the best for the rest of the year. And we'll see you very, very soon, I hope. Fingers crossed.
Thanks for having me. Good to speak to you. Catch you later.